Hello, everyone, and welcome to this new edition of Message of Hope. And today I have the pleasure to be with Nikki Davison, who joins us from the UK. And she's also a psychotherapist and working also with the three principle understanding. Welcome, Nikki.
Hi, thank you so much for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, so nice of you of accepting this invitation without knowing what was going on. So that's
I seem to find myself doing a lot of that kind of stuff now. Just, yeah, accepting stuff that I don't really know what it's all about, and which is in stark contrast to the Nikki that existed many years ago. Yeah. So, yeah, I love it actually.
Thank you. So I will ask the infamous question, which is now that you have this understanding, how does that help you navigate whatever shows up in your life? Stress, events, lockdown, whatever.
Okay. So, I guess in order to sort of answer that question, I probably need to go back to how I answered it before and how that was me looking in the wrong direction
Mm.
so that I can then talk about what looking in the direction of our innate health looks like. So like as you said in your introduction, I'm a qualified psychotherapist, and I've been qualified in this field for about 15 years. The reason that I gave up my teaching job to go retrain was because after the birth of my first son 20 years ago, I I suffered what they kind of described as postnatal depression at the time. Um, and I was really, really unwell and under a psychiatric team and considered a suicide risk. Um, and I did have suicidal thinking. I'd been thrust, as we all are, those of us that have had children, into a completely different and new um, part of my life, and one that I had not prepared for, and one that I didn't understand. And because I hadn't prepared for it, and because I didn't understand it, and I hadn't read all the books about it, or I guess I'd probably gone into it quite naively, I just seemed to sort of fall apart. So anyway, I ended up having some counselling, and that really, really helped. I had the most amazing counsellor who was a real inspiration and really helped me to turn a corner. And I guess my epiphany at that moment was, this is just amazing. I want to do this. I want to do what this person's done for me. I want to be able to do this for other people. So I quit my job, signed up at the local university, retrained. And then over the space of the following kind of 15 years, I I still struggled with life, and I had bouts of debilitating anxiety and depression that left me bedridden. Um, I couldn't work. I couldn't look after my children. I used to beg my husband to put me in a mental hospital because I just couldn't cope. And then I would kind of start to come out, and I would think, okay, well, I'm going to go train in CBT. That's the thing. I'm going to go have some of that, and that's going to help me. And now I'm going to, and then it would be homeopathy and meditation and mindfulness and yoga and NLP. And honestly, I don't think there were many modalities that I didn't either have myself or training in order to be able to offer to people. But still, I suffered. I still suffered, and and so 15, yeah, so for 15 years, so 5 years ago, I had a really bad breakdown and wasn't eating, wasn't leaving the bed, wasn't sleeping, and I just I just kind of resigned myself with the thought, well, this is just you, Nikki. You're just gonna have to accept that this is what life looks like for you. So,
Mm.
and then I remember, well, I lived in a different house, and I remember being in the house and I was just scrolling through Facebook, and a lady called Nicola Bird had created a video, and this video just popped up on my timeline. And so it was about anxiety. So instantly I'm like, okay, I'm paying attention. You've got my full attention. um, I don't know what she said, and I've never been able to find the video again. I can't remember anything she said, but I remember bursting into tears. So I can then remember kind of going to her website and signing up for her program.
For people who don't know, Nicola Bird is I was going to say the queen of anxiety is wrong phrasing.
Yes, yes,
She's the specialist of anxiety from a three principle understanding. And if you're
yeah.
interested, she wrote an excellent book called The Little Piece of Mind.
It is, yes, fantastic. Um, so I signed up, and I told my husband, and every time I would get so excited about the new thing that maybe might be the end to the agony. Um, and I remember my husband kind of being quite suspicious and quite, what's she getting herself into now? And I was like, look, it's only this, and I'm gonna just let me. And And so I signed up for the course, and there were every week, I think there was a video, and there were like live Q&A calls, which actually I was too poorly to even attend, but I would always watch the recordings. I was so anxious I couldn't even log into a live call. Even with the option of having a camera off, I just couldn't do it. One of the homeworks that she sent, like there was a private Facebook group, one of the homeworks was to watch a video that Bill Pettit had created. And I don't really remember much that he was talking about, but I do remember never broken, nothing to fix. And even when I say that now, I get goosebumps, like the hairs on my arms stand on end. And I think having listened to some of Nick's videos, I was open to the possibility of something that I hadn't been open to before. I was open to the possibility that maybe I wasn't as broken as I thought I was. And oh my God, like really? Like could that be true? Nothing broken, nothing to fix. Like could that really be true? So that was the kind of the chink, like the door opened a little bit and some light came through into what had been a very, very dark room. And interestingly enough, the whole time I was doing Nick's course, the 6-week program, I was looking in the direction of my anxiety, really focused on my anxiety. My anxiety was front page news. Okay, and although I was like, my heart was opening, I could feel like at times a lightness in my body. Nothing really was changing in my anxiety because I was just so focused on looking at it. But, and I've had this conversation like subsequently with Nick, that if I said, Nick, if we'd had some one-to-one coaching and you'd said to me, okay, Nikki, what is it that you want? Like, what do you want to change? I would have gone, okay, well, I want to be, I want to have less anxiety. I want to be less depressed. I want to be able to go out. I want to have more confidence. I want to get my lightheartedness back. I would like to be able to sleep. But there was this massive, massive thing that was around my relationship with my mum and my dad. My dad that I never knew growing up, and my mum who'd really struggled to be a parent. And it had been quite a difficult relationship, one that I had pretty much got to the point of stepping away from. So the whole time I'm listening to Nick's videos that are about anxiety but are really just about the principles,
Mm.
and I'm looking in the direction of my anxiety, I turn round, metaphorically speaking, and my relationship with my mum has just completely changed. Like, the one thing that I wouldn't have even put on the list of, here's the list of things that I need you to fix, because as far as I was concerned, it was so broken, it was unfixable. I remember meeting up with her and her apologizing for being such a bad parent. I and just feeling love in my heart for her and looking at her and thinking, she's got to be doing some three principles stuff. Like, there is no way. Like, she hadn't changed. The only thing that had changed was my thinking, my creation, the woman that I created, because that's how all of our experience is created. So my thinking about her had changed. All I felt for her was love, and so that's just all I saw in front of me.
And we also all want. I do some forgiveness work. Sometimes I do kind of a gestalt and hypnosis where they can really hallucinate talking to the other person. And it's funny what clients report back after that. Um, no, the forgiveness, no, the removes a big layer on their shoulder, and also changes the relationship. And because we're all one, in a sense, energetically, it does affect the other person. So even though you change, but by changing and forgiving, it also changed the other person as well. It's kind of all into
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
So that was, for me, that was the big turning point. This thing that was looking in the direction of the anxiety that I wanted to be fixed. Something huge had shifted and changed, and I never in my wildest dreams imagined that that was possible. So then it's not just a chink in the door, it's like the door's kind of wide open and someone's inviting me to step through. Because the way I saw it then is, if that can change, then really everything is up for change. Because as far as I was concerned, that was fixed and true. So anything that I think is fixed and true is actually up for change.
Mm.
So you have no confidence and you're so unsuccessful in life. Well, I think that's fixed and true, but maybe that's not true. You have debilitating anxiety and depression. Maybe you don't. Like everything. everything just started to change. So, noticing that about what happened with my mom, I then went back to look in the direction of my anxiety and I couldn't find it.
Mm.
And I remember actually being so childlike in the sense that I was like, well, where is it? Okay, I'm going to go put myself in situations where I'd normally be really anxious because then it will show up. So I would I would go to a restaurant with friends. I mean, that is something that I just, oh my God, no, 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 never. And I remember I would be sat there, kind of looking around a little bit like, well, where is it? Because I just feel fine. Um, and other situations as well, things that I would always turn down, things that I would say, no, I'm really sorry, I can't do that. I found myself saying yes to just to see if it would show up, just to see, and it just didn't. And it was like all the walls that I built around myself that had shut out all the light, they were just tumbling down around me, and I just felt expansive. I felt open. I felt lit up, like from the inside. That for me, another thing, the whole concept of it only works inside out. When you really see that, what that takes off our shoulders as human beings is, so any situation, any relationship, any um, COVID, literally anything, it works inside out, always. So it is never the thing, because actually everything in life is neutral. Your boss, your kids, your husband, a global pandemic, um, everything is neutral until we apply our personal thinking to it. And then we give it form. But hey, guess what? That can change too, because your thinking can change, and so the form of that thing changes too. Wow.
Yeah, because we still get caught up. Sometimes situation or shit still
Yeah.
happens, right? What is the difference with this understanding that we wake up much
Yeah.
quicker to it? No,
Yeah. And we're more comfortable in it because we know it's not permanent and it
true.
means nothing about us. So, yeah, we all have bad days and days when we don't feel great about life or our situation, relationships, whatever. But when you wake up to this understanding, even a day, a week, whatever like that is okay, because it can change. And it's just an indication, to quote Bill again, any mental health diagnosis or any situational experience is just an indication of where you are and never who you are.
So only a Polaroid. No, maybe I should change my. Does it still exist, Polaroid?
Yeah, yeah, no, exactly. It's a snapshot.
Exactly. Yeah.
And the crazy thing is, so here's so your original question, how has sorry if I got it quite right, but how has knowing what you know about the three principles kind of changed things for you? So it's taken me back to being more of a 7-year-old.
Mm.
So when I was 7 and the difficult things were actually happening in my life, the the emotional abuse and sometimes physical abuse that was actually happening to me in my life you might think that I was a withdrawn child who was anxious, and no, this kind of realization is quite a recent one for me. I was really happy. I was really confident. I did really well at school. The thing would happen at home. I'd wake up the next morning, get my uniform on, I'd go to school, and I'd be as happy as anything. So it didn't affect me in the moment when it happened. When I was in the home and something awful happened, yeah, it upset me, but like the resilience that's innate in us was there. I didn't need to like drag all of that, with me for 30 years of my life because I was okay back then. I was okay. I had the resilience to move forward, to live moment by moment by moment by moment. It's just I forgot it. I fell asleep to that.
And I will maybe go out on a limb here. But sometimes if you told your story to someone or a psychotherapist or something like that, and it was, oh, poor you must be traumatized.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you said, well, maybe I should.
Yeah, maybe I am. Well, that's why then. That's why I'm the way I am, you see? But that just feeds into stories and beliefs and ego, and none of that is who we really are. Who we are is love, wisdom, and understanding, and the ability to create the reality that we're not.
That beautiful Jack Prinsky quote.
It's just perfect. And the more we remind ourselves of that, the easier it is to navigate the roller coaster that is life. There's no escaping. Sid said, life's a contact sport. You get knocks. Hey, there's nothing you can, no amount of therapy or.
Life is lifing,
Yeah.
in a
Yeah.
sense. No, it's not, life is not happening to us.
Yeah.
Just life is happening.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
all there is to it.
So, does that answer your question?
Beautifully. Beautifully. Yes, it does. And it is really a message of hope. Like we were chatting people before we start recording,
Yeah.
and you said, if I can change, everybody can.
Yeah. Yeah, and I really felt I felt like that, and I feel like that. I'd lost all hope. It looked to me that I'd tried everything possible, and I felt very resentful and bitter about how life was. Actually, now I kind of I kind of see that it's just how it. We never really know. Like I don't know what life has in what I'm meant to be doing in a week's time, a year's time. I don't know, but it was really important for me to go through all of those things to get to here. Maybe to kind of share this a story of hope. Maybe that's it. That's it for me. But wow, hey.
It's a big, 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 no, it's a big thing. No?
Like I was watching something the other day. I can't remember what it was, but it was about, you know, how as humans we ponder what the point of us is. Why am I here? That kind of age-old question. And
Mhm.
was just sat thinking, that, maybe I was thinking maybe I'm just here to kind of share hope. And then thinking about that as a concept, and I just thought, wow, yeah, I'm happy with that. I'm content with that. I'm really content with that. So yeah.
Thank you, Nikki.
Oh,
Thank
thank you
you
so
very much. And if people want to know more about you, because that's another thing I wanted to have. Now, remember at the beginning when she said she could even be on video on Zoom? And now she has a podcast, and now she's in this little interview. So, see,
Oh yeah, no, I know. I know. Who knew? Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, my website is www.amindplace.co.uk, and I have a podcast, and it's a mind pod. Um and it's just a conversation about being at peace with different things in life that, that life's. So yeah, who knew that was possible?
so that's a great message of hope. So, thank you, Nikki.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you so much. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye bye.